Jurgen, last week Manchester City prevented Chelsea from having a single shot on target in the game. Can you explain what City do that makes it difficult for opponents, and what you might have to do to ensure that doesn't happen to you? Because you've been very productive offensively this season.
Actually, yeah. So first of all, but probably people don't see the best way to defend is to keep the ball. That's what City is doing pretty well. So they have big possession numbers, stuff like that. Then they have an exceptional counter-pressing impulse, which helps as well. If you lose the ball, then you win it back pretty early, so that helps as well. On top of that, there are different possible organizations, obviously, against us, especially they played, or defended at least, very often in a 4-4-2, even when it was a slightly offensively different system. So which helps as well in the specific areas to close an opponent down. On top of that, they have exceptional individual quality in the different positions, which helps as well from with defending. On top of that, they have goalie. Of course, if they don't have a shot on goal, then the goalie is not that massive influential. But if you get through, they're still a world-class goalie. So that makes it a really interesting mix, I would say. And so that's it. That's why City won quite a few Premier League titles and trophies in the last few years, because they're really good. And it's a clear idea, it's a clear structure with some changes from time to time. I think the year, I'm not 100% sure, but I think last year already they started defending in a 4-4-2. De Bruyne pushing up, stuff like this. Before that they didn't do it like it. Let's see what they do this year. They are, not only us have a day or two more to prepare the game, they have it as well. So let's see what Pep is doing. We will see. But it's the main thing, I think, is to keep the ball as long as possible. That gives the opposite team no chance to finish any kind of situations off, because you don't have the ball.
Fantastic. Thank you, Paul. We'll go to Andy Hunter, then Dave Maddock. Andy.
Hi, Jurgen. Beyond the obvious of putting the ball in the back of the net, what are the factors do you think behind this purple patch you're having in front of goal, the number of goals you're scoring? Is it that you're getting the benefits of Salah and Mane having the first full pre-season? Is it the better distribution from defence? Is it the whole package?
Yeah.
What you put it down to?
It's a package. It must be the package, because everything else, the pre-season helped massively for all the players who were involved in the pre-season. That helped so far and will help in the future, in the rest of the season. Because I spoke plenty of times about how essential it is that we can create a basis, and a physical basis as well. That's what we could. In a moment, we are, apart from Brentford, quite stable defensively, which means we are that stable because we work really together as a defensive unit, that we are really, that the offensive players defend. If we have to defend deep, we defend deep. If we can press high, we do that high, and all this kind of things. So it's clear again what we do, because what I said about last season, we had the problem that we lost, of course, rhythm by losing the centre halves and playing midfielders in the last lines, and all of a sudden nothing was like it was before. And what we did before was obviously really good. That's why we won the league in the way we did it. And all of a sudden you have in the middle of a season, you have to reinvent your game. That takes time, obviously. We needed that time to adapt to our now existing qualities, and it took time. But now we stepped not back to what we did before, I would rather say a little bit more aside. We changed as well some things, but we are much closer to what we did before than we were last year. And so it means we have stability. When you have stability, you feel more freedom for the offensive stuff. When you have more freedom, you can come more often in dangerous situations or threatening situations, and then you can score more often. But to be honest, when people told me now that we scored 20 goals in September or whatever, it didn't feel like. It really just didn't feel like. I have a lot of chances, and I'm really positive, a lot of chances in my mind which we missed. It's not about that I don't want to score 40 goals or whatever. It's just we are not even close to what we think is exactly like it should look. We just take it game by game, play as good as possible at that day, analyze it, use the informations we find in the analyze, and carry on.
Fantastic. Dave Maddock for one, Chris Bascom for one, then to the Sundays, of which we've probably got most of the hands up we can take at the moment. Dave.
Jurgen, you and Pep have a remarkable record against each other. I think you both won 9 games, and you hardly ever draw either. And it sort of strikes me that it's one of the sort of great managerial rivalries in the best sense. And there's always been those in history, like in English football particularly. The managers who are rivals don't seem to get on, but you and Pep do, and you kind of almost inspire each other, I think. And I was just wondering whether that's the case, and whether you could talk a little bit about what it's like managing against him, and because they're always very tactical games, and people don't always see that, I don't think.
I don't know what people see, but it's true. Not sure I ever told Pep, but I like him. It's true, but from time to time, obviously, I annoy him with things I say in press conferences, which are not to say anything bad about him or about Man City, but when somebody of the City staff tells him Klopp said that, and I can see in the press conference that he gets really angry. Sorry for that. But no, I respect him a lot, and I said it before. I always think it's when we think we know a lot about each other, but we actually don't. We meet each other for football games. But 2 years ago, I think it was, we had a few situations where we went together at Manchester most of the time, any kind of awards or stuff like this, and our families met. And I can tell you, somebody has a family like Pep Guardiola must be a good person. Because Mrs. and the kids outstanding, and that's what is important for me. So, and during the game, whatever he says, whatever I say, it's not that I want to win desperately. He wants to do that, and we are completely different as personality, stuff like this. But nonetheless, I like him, and yeah, that's it pretty much. And I respect him, and it's really one of the biggest challenges for all managers in football to face his teams, because they are good. And but I like that as well. I like that as well, because it's one of these games where it's like when people say about first division or Premier League, Bundesliga, whatever football, or Champions League football, I say on this level there's no mercy for mistakes, if that's the right saying. So that if you make a mistake, you get punished. So that's pretty much a game against Man City always. So you better don't make a lot of mistakes, because otherwise you will get a knock. But if you don't, at least when you are Liverpool, then you have a chance. And I really think it's interesting to give it a try.
Terrific. Final question in this section from Chris Bascom, and then we'll go to the Sundays. And I've got all the hands up I can take from the Sundays, I'm afraid. Go on.
Hi. One of the things Pep said after the game last year was Anfield with and without fans, is a direct quote. Anfield with and without fans is completely different. I mean, there's no doubt that was a factor last year, and it can be a huge factor on Sunday.
Yeah, it better is. It better is. So I think 2 years ago then probably, I said what we need is the atmosphere that even the guys who sells the hot dogs has to be on its toes. So, and that's what we actually need again. I know after that long time without each other, I don't have to ask for that. The people were exceptional since we are back. I loved each second. But everybody who's in the stadium at Sunday knows it all makes only really sense when we do it together. And I really would like to say, let's give it a proper try all together, and let's be as powerful as a unit as we can be. I know everyone knows we need it, but if we get it, we have a better chance. So let's make a really special game of it. And yes, it was obvious there's a massive difference, Anfield with or without. So let's set a new level for with.